Good morning, and welcome to SharePoint social networking class or discussion. We're going to take a look at 5 or 6 items that users can implement within their SharePoint environment to allow us to give or greater use to some of the features that are in SharePoint, both from an end user point of view, but also from a team user point of view. So let's take a look at some of the things that we actually have the capabilities of doing just as a normal user. So we're going to flip over to our SharePoint environment. Sorry. As I share my desktop. There we go. Okay. So so this is just a standard team site. We are just using a normal SharePoint environment. So pardon me. So as you can see here, we've got some general links and features on the page. One of the things that we want to be able to do, though, is that we want to be able to take a look at different items that exist within a library, and based on the content of that item, we want to be able to give it some tag information, such as it's a really good thing, it's not such a good thing, and so forth. So we're going to go into the Shared Documents folder here, and you'll see that we have a list of documents. We've got this document that is just a standard text document, and it was generated by somebody on a certain day, and it was modified at such and such a time. And one of the things that we'd like to be able to do so that when users go and search for files is we want to be able to say, okay, this is a very useful file. It resolves to a high level of what the user was requiring or requesting in their search request, and we can do that by giving the value a rating. So if we look at a document and we say, okay, this covers probably 70% of what we're trying to find, we might want to give it a rating of, let's say, 4 out of 5. Okay, and so right now, by selecting that item, I give it a 4 out of 5. After a few minutes, that recording is sent back to the central database, and when other individuals do a query using certain keywords or data types that this file has, they'll see that I have rated this as a 4 out of 5. Somebody else might come along and give it a 3 out of 5, which would then give it 3.5 out of 5, the difference between the two numbers. And so for every document that we have in our environment, we can go through and we can give them all a rating. Okay, and this can be done by any user that has access to the document library to which those files are stored. And then after a period of time, as I said, these ratings will be recorded in the system. And when I go back to the document library at some future point, I'll be able to look in and say, oh, somebody gave that a rating of 4 out of 5, or somebody gave it a rating of 2 out of 5, and different individuals can give it different ratings, and then the system will keep track of those ratings and will allow it to then keep the average of all of the people who have created those ratings. So that's kind of the idea of being able to rate an item. Okay, and again, it comes down to how much of the content that's within that item directly relates to what the document is and what the document is defined as in terms of the different types of content. The next thing that we can do, and this is sort of another tool that we have in terms of being able to find information easily, is the concept of being able to tag content. Okay, so as an individual who would be going in and trying to find information throughout the environment, there's 2 different types of content tags that I can give documents. So let's go in, first of all, let's just create a temporary document here. So I'm just going to go into Office, I'm going to go into Word, and I'm going to say this is a new Word document, and I'm going to save it to my local My Documents. So I'm going to call this is a new Word document. So it's going to be called Test Doc 2, and go Save. And I'm going to close that. I'm going to upload a document, browse, there's my document, open, and OK. So this is the name of the document. I'm going to give it a title, test document number 2, and go save. So now we have another document. Now, you'll notice here that there is no rating for the document. And in the previous document, we ended up with a rating of out of 5. So you can tell based on the colors of the stars whether or not the document has been rated or not. But let's say that I, as a new reader, go in and open up the document. And so I go in and I read it. I'm just going to say read only. We're having trouble with sound. Can anybody else other than Janet not hear me? Yeah, my microphone is on. No, it's just that one person. Yeah. If it's through the teleconference, like through the telephone line, Janet, that's probably why you can't hear me. It's done through the web browser. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I'll give her a second to see if she can get that to work, and we'll just continue on here. So, as I was saying, we have our document, and we've read through it, and it says, okay, yep, everything's great, this is what we want. And so we decide that we'd like to make it easier to find information about it. So we've got 2 options, and they're in the top right-hand corner. One says, I like it, and the other says tags and notes. So let's click I like it. When you click I like it, what it does is that it tags the item with what's called an I like it. And the tags make it easy to remember links and post items to the news feed, so that if you have an RSS feed, for instance, that you can go in and you can have it show up on result sets for searches. But what you're doing is that you're linking documents to make it easier to find. Okay. Currently, we have this control disabled, but if it was working, what it would do is that you would get a little check mark over on the far left-hand side that shows that, yes, I actually like this document. The other option that we have is tags and notes. Okay. Now, tags and notes currently are disabled in this library as well. Actually, let me go back here to browse. That's better. So now I can click tag. Okay. So this page has been tagged with I like it. And you'll notice that that it's been tagged because it changes the color of the icon. It's no longer grayed out. It's actually got a happy face on it. And if we click tags and notes, you'll see that it tagged it with I like it. Okay. And so that when I save this now, it's going to save this as part of the document library. I can also include some notes in here. So if I want to say this is a page that I like, and I can go post, and then I can go back to tags, and I can see that it has other tags here. I also can make this private. So if I don't want other individual users to be able to see what my comments are, I can put this as private, and then only you can see this text. It's no longer public. Okay, and you can also tell at the bottom who else has liked it by looking at the recent activities for the global or central area and say, okay, I like this, I don't like this, and who it was that actually tagged that information. So this is just a way for you to be able to go through and tag information so that it's easy to find, and just so that other individuals say, okay, this person actually likes this content, and so forth. So let's just save that and then close it. And all it's going to do is that it does that later on when somebody else comes along and selects that and looks at the tags, that they will know that other people have actually liked this content as well. Okay. So one of the major features that SharePoint has and allows users to do is something called My Sites. Now, a good way to determine what a My Site is by using the analogy of Facebook. Okay, My Sites could theoretically turn you into a Facebook sort of in an organizational fashion, so you could create your own pages with your own pictures, your own blog information, your own contact list information, and that sort of thing. So we're now in the My Sites location. This is the default location, and as you can see here, we've got a number of different items that we can keep track of. The first one we're going to look at is My Colleagues. Under My Colleagues, I can keep track of different people within my organization, and I can always see what those people are doing. So as an example, if somebody goes and updates a photo or somebody updates some information, then I can have that information appear on this page so that I can have a quick note as to what's going on. So a couple of things. First of all, let's say I want to add a colleague. So here I've got a colleague that I have, and I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to look for a user. So I'm going to say user. And I've got a whole bunch of different users. I'm going to pick user 01. I'm going to add them to my list. And I now see that I can add them as just a colleague. I also can add them to my team if they belong to, let's say I work as a team of developers or marketing people or whatever. I can say, do I want to add them to my team? I'm going to say yes. What group do I want them to exist in? I can say either general groups or peers, and I'm going to say peers. Or I could also generate my own new group with a new name. And to everybody else, I'm going to show as a colleague of theirs. So I'm going to say, okay. Has been added to your colleagues. You may want to add the following people to your colleagues as well. There are no other users, so I'm just going to say skip. And we now see that we have user 1 in my colleagues list. Okay, so when something happens to this user, I will get notified that user 1 has gone and changed their login or changed their display picture or added the blog login or something of that nature. It's just a way for me to keep track of all the people I work with, how they actually work, and how they're related to me. This Show To feature is important because what it can do is that I can actually block out when individuals are on my site from seeing who is in my list of colleagues. So if I have 2 or 3 users that I don't want everybody to know or know anything about them or be able to find them easily, then what I would do is I would hide that user, and I would be able to do that by clicking on the colleague, going Edit, and then change the Show This Colleague to Only Me. And when I go OK, you'll notice that it changes it so that only I can see this individual in my list of colleagues. Nobody else will be able to see it. So this is a way for me to be able to keep track of or keep a list of all of the colleagues that I work with. And there's a couple of other things that we can do with this as well in terms of the My Site. If we go to Overview, here we see an overview about me. So for instance, I can say, what do I want to share to people about me? Well, I can change my display picture. I could say I am an instructor in Calgary. I can choose a picture, Let's see if there's any pictures in the picture library. There, I'm a koala bear. Oh, I like being a penguin. Let's be a penguin. Go OK. And you'll notice now that it changes my picture. I can put in here topics that people can actually ask questions on that I would be, able to answer. So ask me about SharePoint 2010 architecture. Okay, so they would know that, oh, okay, well, this guy's an expert on SharePoint architecture, so if I have an architecture question, I can go ask Brent, and then that would kept there. I can put in all of my contact information, so this is my mobile phone, so I could do 403-555-1212, fax number, I could do my home phone, I could put my office location, okay, so let's say that I'm going to say this is in Calgary, I'm in the Mountain Time Zone, in that one. My assistant's name is Barry. I can list all my past projects, and I can specify different email notification settings for different types of news feeds, as well as types of activities that I want to follow. And I'm just going to select all of them for now. Go save and close. I can't use Barry because he's not a real user, so we'll use another user here, user 8. There we go. So user 8 now works, and we can save and close that. And here we'll see that under Ask About Me, it tells me, oh, these are the topics that I know I can ask Brent about because he's going to have an answer for. It tells you where I'm located. It tells you my information about me that I typed in, that I'm an instructor in Calgary. I can edit my information from here, and I can add other types of information from here as well. Also, you'll notice that on the left-hand side, it has information about my recent activity, and I can generate notes. So here, if I want to create a note, so this is to notify everyone, about my seminar class today, and I can say post. And then you'll notice at the bottom it changes all of that default text to all of the different notes that I've posted within the environment. A couple other things, organizational charts. I can take a look at the organizational chart by clicking the browser. And we see right now that we don't actually have much of an organization. There's just myself. So it's just going to give me the information specifically about myself in this environment. I can also look at content. Content is things such as my own personal library information, the types of data that I'm storing, my tags and notes that I've generated before. So here, remember, we looked at and said, oh, I like this page. And we look at February, in this case, February 12th, 2012, and we see all the documents that we've created, all the documents that I specified that I like, and the pages that I like, and what type of notifications I have. I can refine all of my views either by tag, by notes, public items, and private items. I can also add other items as well, so I can keep track of different things. And lastly, memberships. Memberships is a list of the types of information that I belong to in terms of the different groups that I belong to. So if I go edit, I'm waiting for it to come up. I guess I'm not a member to any memberships yet, so I don't have anything to edit. So I'm not going to worry about that for the moment. If I go back up to my content, here we get to see all of the different types of content that is currently set up for my site. So I have shared document libraries, I have a personal document library, and I have a blog post area. So let's take a look at the first one. The shared document libraries, these are items that I can add up that individuals that connect to my site would be able to go into my document library and be able to see. So let's take a look at this. Again, we're going to put this there. And here, other individual users would be able to see my document. Okay, I can edit the properties, I can specify who can read it, who can't read it, and so forth. If I come down here and I add a document, just put this file there. this file will only be able to be seen by me. It won't be able to be seen by anybody else because this is considered to be a personal file. This would be the same as in a Windows file system. When you save a file to your personal directory, only the people that have access, which is the person who's logged in, would have access to the content of that file. So that's the whole idea behind being able to store documents, and both public documents, such as shared documents, and private documents. We can also include shared pictures. So again, if I want to upload a picture, you'll see that it comes up and it's been uploaded, and now it's going to ask me for things. And we're going to pick Australia, bear, fuzzy, cute. Let's just use those as my keywords. Go save, and you'll notice now that it puts it in the picture in sort of a thumbnail view within the environment. So in this way, I can go in and I can look at all of my different pictures. And so if I'm a visitor of Brent's, I go, oh, look, he took a picture of a koala. I could click on it, and it would come back and tell me, oh, okay, this picture was taken in such and such a time. This is the type of picture. This is its size, and some words about it as well. And what that does is that eventually, pardon me, I would be able to search, let's say, for the word koala, and it would bring back this picture as part of the search results because, oh, Brent's got a picture of a koala bear that he took when he was on his holiday in Australia. So go back to the browse mode. And then from here, because I'm the owner, I can create a new folder for those for pictures if I want to organize it like a file share. I can upload either individual or multiple files at the same time. I can edit the file, as an example. I could open it up in a picture editor, so let's do that. Okay, there's no picture editors connected, so I could open it up and let's say, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. There we go. There we go. So this is the mini picture editor for SharePoint. This is part of the Microsoft Office picture viewer. So I could go in and I could change it. I could rotate it around if I wanted to. Let's see here. I'm going to rotate it this way, and I'm going to go close, save. And I'm going to go back to here. You'll notice that the picture gets saved to the way I modified it. Okay, so there's those settings. I can delete the file. I can delete download a copy of it locally. I can send it to somebody as an email. I could generate and view a slideshow. I could open up with Windows Explorer. I could set up an alert. I can set up an RSS feed so that when something changes, I get notified. And I could synchronize this library to my computer, which is kind of interesting because what it means is that anytime I add a picture to my picture library on my computer, it automatically would get uploaded into SharePoint so that it would synchronize all that information. So here, if I click that, it will automatically sync whatever goes into my, eventually will sync whatever goes into my pictures with my SharePoint library. And here I'm just going to say allow access. And this is my SharePoint workspace. This is a little bit outside the scope of this presentation, but what this will do is allow you to have that direct interaction between your desktop machine and your desktop workstation and the workspace for your SharePoint environment. Under settings, here we can specify that we would like to create picture library columns or create a different view of it. So for instance, if we go under settings, we can modify things such as the title and the description of the page, the number of columns, the type of data that we're storing, the input form, that sort of thing. And this is all information that we can record. If I want to view a slideshow, you'll notice that it brings it up in another window, and it gives me the slideshow tools that I can go backwards and forwards and stop the slideshow and so forth. Of course, it works better when you have more than one picture loaded in there, but you get the general idea. So it'll rotate through all of the pictures that are in that particular folder. If we go back to content, one of the other things that we have here on the right-hand side is the concept of a blog. If you think about things like MySpace and Facebook and those sorts of items, ultimately what they are blog sites with blog entries that you add all sorts of information and people can respond back to. So if we say create a blog, this is going to go and do some thinking. And it says, it generates a blog page. It says, welcome to your blog. If we need to create a post under the blog tools, what is a blog, so on and so on and so on. So here you'll see on the right-hand side, we've got some tools. We can create and manage posts. We can take a look and manage the comments that people make about our posts. And we can launch the blog program to post a specific item. We can also put in links for photos. We can give a description of what the blog is about. And over here you'll notice that it tells us the blog, gives us the current date, and whether or not we want to link to another post, email this post, or put some notes about this post, and then the number of comments that are there. So let's generate a new post. So this is welcome to SharePoint Social Networking. I can specify the categories. I'm just going to say it's both personal and work. And I can either save it as a draft so that only I can see the contents of the post itself, or I can publish it so that another individual user could come along and publish information. So I'm going to publish this. Okay, so here we see our new blog entry that we have. I also have the capability of creating categories, so I can categorize my blog posts, and I can also look at archives, so I can have a blog post automatically archived. So let's say that I want to go in and I want to log in as a different user here, so I'm going to go to, I'm going to sign in as global user 01. Okay. And here you'll see that it defaults to the same because I was using the global account to create it last time, or the central account to create it last time, and because I was also the central user, which is user 1, I get to see the same information. When another user comes in and goes to the specific My Site for that particular individual, then that person will be able to go in and see all of the different blog entries and then also make comments. So for instance, this is where I would make my comment. We can go submit. Okay. If I go back, I'll notice here that it tells me that I have one comment, and it doesn't display them in a link. It would only display once I clicked on the actual comment itself. And I would see a list of all of the different comments that are displayed there. Okay. If I say manage posts or manage comments, if I say manage comments, it changes the comments from the standard view to a table, like in Excel, so that I have the capabilities of being able to edit the content. So if I click edit, I can then go in and change the values for this particular item. So if I want to add something, or I want to change it, or check the spelling or whatever, I can do that as well. I can also here, under this, change the items itself, or I can manage the permissions. So if I go manage permissions, it tells me who actually can read the permissions and who can write permissions and so forth. And the last thing that we have is on this particular site is a discussion and survey. Under discussions, we can create a new discussion. So we're going to say that we want to create a new discussion board. So we're going to create a new discussion board and call it announcements, and call this my announcements. Go create. And here I can put in a new item. And I can save. And here we'll see that I have a new announcement in my list, and I can just click on it and view the contents of it and read it. Okay. Again, as the non-editor of this application, as a normal end user, you would not see any of these ribbon items at the top. You would just see the actual contents of the announcement and be able to read it there. The other item that we have to bring this discussion to a close is the surveys section. Here what we're going to do is we're going to create a survey. So we can either view the survey or document library. We're going to say create a new survey, and we're going to go under surveys right here. We're going to call this test and say create. And we're just going to ask some questions. So the first question is, did you enjoy the course? And we're going to make this multiple choice. And it says it does require a response. We want to make sure it's unique. Enter choice 1 is yes. No, not sure. And we could set that as radio buttons. Allow fill-in choices, no. The default value would be yes. And say next question. Yes. And then the next question is, what's for lunch? And here we could put in a single line of text. And again, requires a response. We don't have to enforce unique values. The maximum value is 255 characters. And say next. So now we've done our survey. So if we click test, we see here that this is the name of the survey. Let's respond to the survey. Did you enjoy this course? Yes. What was for lunch? Pasta. And go finish. It'll tell you the number of responses, the number of people that have responded to the survey, and then you can see the responses. So if you click on Show All Responses, if you view the response for this user, you'll see that those are the responses to the particular survey that user has generated. So that brings us to the end of our little session here. Just to kind of a recap, we took a look at the capabilities of being able to tag content in terms of the 5-star taggings. We also looked at being able to set that we like a specific piece of content and that how we would tag it and set notes from it so that it becomes more easily accessible from our My Site page. We also took a look at, on our personal sites, the features within shared and personal document libraries, as well as picture libraries. And lastly, we looked at some of the features in terms of the capabilities of generating blogs and having blog comments written, as well as creating discussions and different surveys. Thank you very much for your time, and have a good day.